It was very, very hard for all of us to get there, but we all did it with heart and dedication. We all accomplished something in history that had never been done. To be Olympic champions, first U.S. women's team ever, and the youngest Olympic champion, we did something monumental and magnificent in history, and that changed our lives forever. Tonight, what we're doing is having a night of inspiration with Dominique and Dr. Mike Canales at our house. We invited the Brecksville Broadview Heights women's high school gymnastics team. They have an amazing record of being high school state championships for 12 years now. When's the next meet? Did you have one last weekend or you have one?
No, we have
this
Saturday.
Okay.
States next Friday.
All right. Defending champs. No pressure, right?
What? You're not.
No pressure. My mom and dad said when they have their first child, they wanted to be a gymnast. At 6 months old, my parents actually hung me as a baby from a clothesline, and they wanted to test my strength. So I held on until the clothesline broke. They're like, aha, you're gonna be strong enough to be a gymnast one day. Well, I started gymnastics at the age of 3, and my parents put me in it because they were from Romania, and in Romania, every little girl's dreams to do gymnastics and be the next Nadia. The gym was my free playground, and it was just so fun for me to just jump around and get on the bars and just do things that other kids didn't, because I was kind of that awkward European, had this awkward green lime lunchbox. I ate pate and liver paste. I'm like, people don't know what that is here. I'd never had a peanut butter and jelly. I was kind of a little bit awkward with a bowl haircut, so typical Romania, early 80s haircut. And so I was always kind of out of place when I was little, but gymnastics is what gave me my outlet. By the time I was 9 years old, I was already a junior elite level gymnast. So in a short amount of time, I climbed the ranks pretty quickly to pursue, that top spot in the sport. When I was at LaFleur's Gymnastics in Tampa, the local news came and they did this Olympic hopeful story. Here I am, a 9-year-old, hopeful for the '96 Olympics. They captured my triple back off bars, and how many people in the world at 9 years old did that? The broadcaster's like, you gotta keep your eyes on her, and she's gonna be someone to watch in '96. From that moment on, there was a burning desire inside of me that always kind of stayed with me. And I wanted to pursue that, and I did everything from that moment on to get there. Eventually, my parents felt that perhaps the gym that I was at was not able to maybe get me there. So at 9 and a half, I moved to Houston, Texas to train with the Carolis. That's when gymnastics became really serious. I'd heard the word diet for the first time. I mean, I never knew what that was. I was like, 50 pounds, and a 9-year-old with lean muscle, I didn't have to worry about any of that. The air was different there, the sense in the gym, the intensity. Of course, nothing was gonna stop me, from that dream, no matter what. And I collapsed in the gym ultimately before the Olympics, but I was gonna get there somehow. The 1995 U.S. National Championships. I was finally a senior. I was 13 years old, and I just remember it being such an amazing first day of competition. I was the senior national champion, the youngest ever, still to this day. As we kind of went on, that 13 was like my big year to shine before the Olympics. I had to make a name for myself in the international community and at the World Championships because so many people didn't know who I was. And that was a big defining moment for me to be the only American to walk away with a silver medal on balance beam and the highest all-around finisher of any American at that time with 5th all-around. The month leading up to the Olympics in 1996 got very intense. We were training at the Caroli Ranch every day, and Saturday nights during camp season, we'd have mock meets. And at the end of a Saturday, which we only had usually one practice in the morning, 9 to 1, we had 2 practices and sometimes 3. But I think it also at times created a lot extra pressure and the stress on our bodies eventually would take a toll. I was doing morning training and Carrie was there and we were doing floor. I was tumbling and I'd had my shin hurt for a while, and I always thought, well, am I making this up in my head? I started to question myself, is this really me, or can I just push through this? So I just was quiet and I was like, man, I'm like really hurting. It was finally to the point where I was doing compulsory tumbling, the front through, round up, back handspring full, and then we had the little dance into the switch straddle, come down. And on the switch straddle, my leg gave out on me and I collapsed. And so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to like, I think I'm gonna get in trouble. So I like try to come back up quickly. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get yelled at. I stand back up again and I'm like, okay, do it again. Just do it again. Pretend maybe nobody saw you. And like, okay, I gotta go again. So I try again and I collapse. Like I cannot push off my leg. And I'm like terrified. And I eventually go to the doctor and figure out that I had a forced major stress fracture. So all of my routines were basically bicycling for cardio, doing it, on my arms and artistry with my arms, and doing bar routines without dismounts. And I was like, oh my gosh, my dream could be flashing right before my eyes, and it was all because this could have been prevented. But I was like, I'll be darned if I come all this way and I don't go. I'm gonna be so upset. And I said, I don't care if my leg is broken. I'm gonna keep moving and pushing through as much as I can. I'm just gonna train as if I'm going, because that's the only way that I can train full with my heart and be like, not have any regrets no matter what happens. My scores from the nationals withheld, and Shannon and I got petitioned. The governing body felt that time they needed me to be on the team to compete. And so that was the best thing for my body, to be able to rest and not have to do the Olympic trials. When they announce you to the Olympic team, that moment is like, finally, whew. It's like you can take a deep breath. Okay, now the training begins for the Olympics and with my team, and here we go. 2 weeks before the Olympics, we finally had training together, all of us 7 that made the Olympic team, and we were for the first time training all together and having a set schedule where we'd have practices, so we would become a unit in that 2 weeks. 7 young ladies with a huge dream and huge hearts and dedication and determination. I mean, I'd never seen a group of 7 athletes, female athletes, work that hard. All of us would literally walk out of the gym every single day with ice bags wrapped around every part of our body. One day I think I came out with like 7 ice bags. So we looked like football players with all this, these ice bags on all parts of our body. But it was business every single day, and our eyes were set on Olympic gold. When we moved to Atlanta after we had done the training for a couple weeks at the other location, we finally got into, to the Olympic venue. Day 2 is the day that it's gonna make us or break us. We'll be on that podium or we're not. Are we gonna win or not? Right before the meet, Dominique Dawes starts crying. And I'm like, Dawes? You've been to the Olympics before. I didn't expect that. And I'm like waiting in line up. We're waiting to march out. Amanda's like, she turns to her and tries to, give her a pep talk. And then when she's out there, you wouldn't even imagine that she was crying, like minutes before we walked out. And it was like amazing to see the sea of support and flashes and go USA, and everyone was like, USA. So we get through, bars goes off, awesome. I mean, we pretty much all nailed our landing. We stuck every routine. And then we go to beam and we're nailing again. And we're sticking dismounts. I mean, we're nailing and doing some of the best routines of our lives, some of us. And again, it was just so nice going into floor knowing that, we had all nailed bars and beam. When the Devil Went Down to Georgia played, I mean, I can still imagine it and I can still hear it. We were on a roll. And then we head into vault. And we're like, vault, okay, great. We've done 1 million vaults. So our team is nailing vault. We're doing great. Our warm-ups go well. And then all of a sudden, it's my turn. And there was just this mass miscommunication with the head coaches at the end of the vault runway, and then with me, the Yurchenko mat was flipped on the blue side. And I'm like, flip it over, flip. And so all this is happening in this short amount of time, in this chaos, and I'm like, it's not setting me in the right mindset. I felt like I can't say anything more at this point, like everybody's trying to hustle and bustle and do what they can for vault. And I'm like, I just gotta go. I was like, how could that happen where I would fall twice and do this nearly the same mistake? And my second vault was higher. And then Carrie went and she did the same thing. So it was like, I think our boards were set maybe, incorrectly, all 3 of us. For whatever reason, if the board was set incorrectly and the mats weren't correctly, it doesn't matter now. It didn't change the outcome. At the end of the day, we're still Olympic champions. being up there on the podium was completely different than I expected because I had so many different emotions. So inside me, I was a little bit disappointed of my vault and, the way my coaches responded to it. And then I was, a little bit worried that my father wouldn't be proud of me. I'm sitting back there and JC's like looking at me and she's like, why are you crying? She's like, why are you upset? I'm like, I don't think people are proud of me. And I was like, she's like, you just won Olympic gold. And then I saw my dad with his like Uncle Sam hat taking pictures. And I was like, you know what, he gotta be proud of me a little bit. I'm an Olympic champion. I did it with the team. We did something monumental and magnificent in history. And that changed our lives forever. So this is downstairs. It's a whole different world down here. And I actually was able to create this through just working with the builder and surprising my husband with kind of these cases and a lot of these built-ins in our house. I've had these things, believe it or not, in storage for 18 years. This is where I finally get to showcase my Olympic medal. For so long, it was locked in a fireproof lockbox under my bed. This is Goodwill Games. Everybody remembers the Wheaties box. We were the first, female team to go on there, first U.S. women's team. So that was really special, and just kind of the Hall of Fame stuff and things that fans have made, like this drawing right here. This was from our 10-year Magnificent 7th anniversary where we celebrated 10 years, and now we're about to be at 20 years. So I can't even believe it. It was quite a whirlwind when you go and look back and you just like go through all this stuff. Like, wow, it was just like a wild time with all the stuff happening, and I'm a 90s chick. 90s gymnastics is awesome, My life changed overnight after the Olympics. So I was 14 and I couldn't even go to the mall. I would be swarmed at the mall, and that was like my fun go-to hangout place with my friends. My living room was mounted with stacks of US Postal boxes. They'd be dropping it off by the cases every single day, and I was like, whoa, all of these are written and addressed to me, and I didn't even know how everybody got my address. And it was a whirlwind of interviews and post-Olympic tour. We did 100 cities in the United States. I'm a freshman in high school at this time, so my life is very, very different than any of my peers. I have to take kind of my homework with me on the road because with the fall and that spring following the Olympics, basically I missed out on my whole freshman year. The post-Olympic tour after the Olympics was the time of my life. I pretty much did not have supervision. I was at the tour stops doing all these shows and performing, and it was great because our team actually kept up their level of difficulty throughout the entire Olympics. We were like rock stars on a tour bus, traveling the country. We did a lot of shows, and it was great because we had sold out arenas all over the United States. Pretty much after the tour, I didn't know what to do. Part of me always would miss gymnastics. I knew that because I loved it, and I did love to perform, I did love to compete. And miraculously, my love wasn't completely stripped away. But after the Olympics, I was like, I'm done for a while. You just need a break from the intensity, from the criticism, from just that spotlight on you every single moment of trying to be perfect in your sport. But then I was like, I can't let it go yet. And so 2000 was that year of comeback. I finally ended up going to Mary Lee Tracy's gym for the comeback road again and wanted to go to a second Olympics. I went all the way up to Olympic trials, got back in shape again. I felt so good. I did my vaults again, awesome. And right at Olympic trials, I felt like I was peaking. And sure enough, after I do a bar dismount, I felt my knee tweak. And so that forced me into retirement at that time. I had knee surgery, and then I had shoulder surgery that same 6-month period. So that was another year of just recovering from injuries, and it was just a bit of a relief, but I was sad the way I was forced, I felt, to be done. I guess my first question is going to be, what did you learn?
How you had no fears as a child.
Being
like 8 years old and not being afraid to do like triple backs and bars.
Right, yes. That's a great point. Fearlessness, that was one thing that I can say that I certainly owned. I went for it, But not necessarily that I wasn't afraid, it's that I went even when I was afraid. Because sometimes that's half the battle, is going when you're scared.
Probably never give up too.
Excellent.
Like, even when times are tough, like they'll get better.
Yes, excellent.
Kind of like no matter what like the external forces are, like if you have motivation inside of you, like that's what can get you through.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If you have that fire, then like, that's so cheesy.
No, but you know what? That's the reality of it. You do have to have that fire, and it's not cheesy because it's real. And like Mike said, you got to surround yourself around good people and people who have excellent attitudes, those people who wish you the very best, who want you to succeed. Because you're going to start having that same attitude, and you're going to see that it's possible to really accomplish the goals that you want in your life.
I was just amazed like at how dedicated you were to gymnastics at like such a young age, and how you like practiced so many hours like during the week, like being so young. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. It was. In order to get to that highest level in sport and in anything in life, whether it's your career, those are the kinds of sacrifices that have to be made. I definitely do feel that I'm at peace with my career, probably more than ever, because I've done everything that I can possibly do. I have titles, I have records, I made history, been a part of history. I feel very, very much accomplished and proud of everything that I've gone through throughout my career. So you guys gotta come say hi to me. Okay. Now you know me. Don't be shy. Thanks. You're welcome. There's so many great parts of gymnastics that have, come into my life, and so many friendships I've made through gymnastics. The biggest way that I'm involved now is I do speaking, I mentor children, I give them advice in private lessons and things like that. I also do clinics and camps in the summer. So those kinds of things are the best way that I can impact the next generation. Whether, I'm 100 or 30, I'm always going to be involved in gymnastics. Mike and I reconnected in 2001. Our main goal is to bring our gymnastics expertise to allow her to be a better gymnast in the CrossFit world.
You're still pushing back almost in a movement like this.
So this is one of our favorite parts of our house. It was a big discussion of whether we were going to let him compete this year. Anytime we can offer him advice, of course we're going to be there. He's going to have first-hand knowledge from us.